So Kim, tell me about the new album. There's a link, isn't there, with Todd Rundgren?
There's a song on there that's by Todd Rundgren. I'm a huge fan of Todd Rundgren, and I wanted to do one of his songs on the album. I've been thinking about it for the last few years, and I decided this was the album I wanted to do it. I played Ricky a song called Lucky Guy that he had on an album of his called Hermit with Mink Hollow, and he fell in love with it, and so we decided to do a version of that. And the rest of it is original material, either that I've written with Ricky or Ricky's written with them, or I've written with the two of them, or I've written with Steve. A new single I wrote with Steve. And we wrote it we wrote and produced and recorded it in about a 3-month period. We tried to do it as quickly as possible, keep the kind of spontaneity and the freshness of it, and I think we've come up with a very strong album. And also Tony Swain was involved with co-producing with Ricky. Sort of brought something else to it's good to have some fresh inspirations.
So how many of the songs were you actually involved in writing?
Nearly all of them, really. Save for maybe a couple. So the two, I think, which Ricky and Em wrote. I say Em and Martin, and the rest either co-wrote or wrote with Steve. So I've been working hard. I've been working really hard, I swear. So it's very nice to promote at the moment. You know, I'm enjoying talking to people about it. I'm enjoying doing the TV, travelling again, and having a bit of fun and doing all this silly pop stuff. Because actually it's a lot of fun. And after the pressures of having to come up with good material, I mean, we wrote loads of stuff that's just been, kicked out. So the pressure of doing that, it's very nice to have that lifted and just, make videos and go to Montreux.
Did you enjoy Montreux?
Well, I didn't enjoy Montreux last year. There was an odd atmosphere, There wasn't a nice feeling between the artists, really. And I don't know. There was a lot missing. It was awful. It was like a circus. It was like a cattle market. It was horrible.
Do you find usually at these things that there's any animosity between the artists, and do they compete with each other?
Not at all. That's why I didn't like it. I mean, normally when I meet other pop stars and other artists on TV or abroad, and it's normally there's always a great feeling. I just recently met Simon Climby and Rob Fisher and Rick Astley and Johnny Hates Jazz and a whole load of bands on a German TV I did. And it's a great atmosphere. It's really good. We ended up around the piano till 6 in the morning singing songs and having a great time. And normally that's how it's like. It's like, oh, let's have fun. We hardly ever see each other. So while we're together, let's have some fun. But Montreux didn't have that. I don't know why. I can't. Too many bands, and of course the Beastie Boys were there, and they were causing all kinds of strange vibes. And of course that awful journalist Jill Pringle was there, writing all sorts of wicked, nasty, unbelievable things. So there was a lot of sort of tacky press that was writing a very tacky story.
How much influence do your family have over your writing and your personal life?
When it comes to writing, I mean, that's why I really enjoy writing with my guitarist Steve, because he's not family. He's he's a brilliant musician. He's very independent. He's not sort of. We don't have his publishing. We don't have him on our production company. He's his own man. He does his own thing. He's got his own band, his own scene, and that's why I like working with him writing. I like that kind of independence. But I also really enjoy writing with Ricky and my dad. We have our own special combination of things, and I wouldn't want to ever lose that. But I really do enjoy having my own sort of expression with music, and that's why I really enjoy writing with Steve, or writing with anyone else other than Ricky or my dad. And I feel like I have plenty of space. I mean, I live on my own. I have a very independent life. I'm not totally sort of stifled by them at all. In fact, I hardly see them at all, which isn't good for me. I like seeing them because of the children. I've got an 8-year-old sister and a 7-year-old brother, and I miss seeing them. But musically, and personally, I'm allowed to develop very independently.
It must have still been quite difficult for you though, because of the family. I mean, surely they've been quite protective of you.
No one likes to feel emotionally, dependent on their mum and dad, especially when you're 27. And But I think at the same time you shouldn't turn your back on people that love you, you know, and who you love. So it's always been like a fine balance really for me to, especially because my dad being a famous person and people wanting to sort of insinuate perhaps that I'd never be here if it hadn't been that person famous daddy, you know. You know, it's amazing how that is still written about. I know, I mean, Julie Birchall wrote about that a few weeks ago in the paper, and she insinuated that the only reason I was here anyway was because of my famous dad. I thought,
Your father's still involved though, isn't he, with your work?
he writes with us, he's very involved with my music, and he's well, he's not as involved as he used to be, because he used to write exclusively, just him and my brother wrote all the early stuff for me. And now he writes less, but he's still involved, and I'm more involved. And he also is a performer, you know, and he does his own tours. He's just finished, in fact he's on tour now.
What sort of places does he play?
Oh, theatres, small theatres, clubs, working in clubs.
Well, playing all the old hits?
Oh yeah.
There's a big audience though for the nostalgia thing, isn't there?
Yeah. He plays rock and roll.
Talking about the nostalgia thing, you now write a lot of material yourself, yet the biggest recent hit you've had was a cover version. How do you feel about that? Is it because of the nostalgia thing, or is it because songwriting was better in the old days, so to speak? And cover versions generally do quite good business.
Well, no, that's not true. There's an awful lot of cover versions that don't see the light of day.
Well, because they're no good, but there have been a lot in the charts.
But they're all rather good, to varying degrees. I mean, mine was one of the better ones, and that's why it got to #1 Australia, America, here, everywhere else. But actually most of the ones that did rather well were rather good. And there were an awful lot of people who were at the time jumping on the bandwagon, releasing covers and actually doing nothing at all. Of course you don't hear about those ones because they don't do anything. As for songwriting, well, I think it's probably true, although I've never actually sort of felt that strongly about the state of songwriting going down the pan, because I always find enough songwriters and music to more than satisfy me. You know, I really love what Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis do. As I said to you before, I think what Prefab Sprat are doing is great. The list isn't exactly endless, but there's certainly enough around. Simon Clymer, as I said before, he's writing great songs.
Yes.
George Michael, he can come up with a good tune when he tries. And there's plenty of people writing good pop music, so I don't think so. I just think at that time, when Hanging On kind of preempted a whole fad of like covers doing very well, and I just think that's what it was. You know, everyone thought, yeah, let's hear some covers done, and it's a fresh idea, it's a new way of doing it.
What about all the sampling that's going on and people using bits of oldies?
Well, that's fun too. That's a different one. Listening to it. I mean, otherwise those songs would be in the charts in their own right. They're not there. You know, Michael Jackson's ABC and whatever, they're not in the charts. But Derek B is because it's new, it's valid, it's valid pop music. As for songwriting, well, I wouldn't get into a discussion about the state of. I mean, I meet so many musicians, so many people who make say, oh God, I mean, my dad too. Oh God, the charts, they're terrible. Oh, the state of songwriting, the state of the music business, everything's crap, you know. And I really can't get into that. I really can't.
Over the last few years, there seems to have been a dramatic increase in the number of women in the charts who don't seem to be able to keep the hits coming. Do you think that that's affecting your success?
I don't think it's affecting me too adversely. I mean, I don't think so. I was #1 in America last year, and got to #2 with Another Step last year. Had a very successful Christmas record. All the TVs seem to want me on their programmes now. I seem to have sort of, got to a certain plateau where it's generally accepted, I think, by all and sundry that I'm not going to disappear, and I'm quite serious about sticking around in music for some concern. I think I'm in a kind of a unique situation. Because I mean, if I think back to a lot of the women singers that were coming and emerging at the same time as I was, and none of them are making records now, hardly.
Well, take Sade. She's still around making great records like Stronger Than Pride, but she's not having hits with them.
Do you know what? It's very strange. I've written it down here because I'm going to go out and buy it because I heard it the other day and I just thought that is beautiful.
Yeah, but it's not a hit.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'd rather be someone kind of around all the time than someone who has a huge impact and then disappears. Now that's what happened with Debbie Harry. I never wanted that. You know, I could see Debbie Harry going down the panel. I could see it wasn't going to work for her, and I didn't want that for me. And I don't have like the answers to a long life or longevity in this business, but whatever I'm doing, and it's not just me. You know, I'm working with a very solid team, and whatever we're doing seems to have its you know, it works to a varying degree. I mean, it's nothing too stunning. I mean, you know, the people aren't astounded by my phenomenal success all the time, but at least Kim Wilde's still a name in music. And that's the most important thing to me.
Okay, let's move on to the Mel and Kim thing. How did you get together with Mel, and was he as professional as people say?
Totally. And very nice. And it's very professional, very nice. Very sweet.
Whose idea was it?
I think it was a combination of Comic Relief and Stuart Coleman, who produced the record. Because I think Comic Relief went to Stuart and said, you know, we want to do an ongoing project for Comic Relief, an ongoing situation with these records. I think they had an idea to do something with Rowan Atkinson at first, you know, someone else, not me. And then, of course, they said, well, hang on, if you do something with Mel Smith, you can get Kim Wilde, and then you can have the Mel and Kim joke, you know, it just sprung from there. So they just phoned me up, obviously. I said, yes, of course, good cause, I love Mel, no problem. And just took off from there.
You do like comics, though, don't you? I read somewhere that you're a big fan of Ben Elton.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, God, Ben makes me laugh. He makes me laugh. Sometimes it doesn't make me laugh at all, but it makes me laugh. And a lot of people who I see make me laugh. I like men who make me laugh. And women.
Do you enjoy that sort of collaborative recording?
I really do enjoy working with other artists and other people very much, so I would like to expand more on that next year, but I'm hoping to do that more with my own material that's not to do with Kim Wilde, you know. I mean, I really would like the idea of working on projects with other artists, with my songs, you know, but not as a singer, not as an artist or a performer, maybe in some other kind of musical context, as production, involved in production and marketing.
Let's go back a bit further then, Mel and Kim, and perhaps you could tell us about your earliest childhood memory.
I think it was music. I think it was sitting in my dad's armchair and listening to Cilla Black singing Anyone Who Had a Heart, and just feeling completely electrified by it, and then hearing 24 Hours from Tulsa by Jim and also listening to my dad sing and stuff. But the radio, the Beatles, that kind of music, yeah. And just, I mean, music was always, you know, when you say what was my earliest memory, my earliest memory is sitting in my mum and dad's living room when I was 3 or something, listening to Cilla Black singing Anyone Who Had a Heart.
You're very lucky, really, to have had that early musical influence and education because of the family.
Absolutely. I don't know. You see, I don't know quite how, you know, how child psychology works as regards to parents. It's not something I've read a great deal about. I don't know how much influence parents really have on their children as to what they end up doing or not. I mean, I personally think that it's profound that your parents have the most profound influence on your whole life. But you know, that doesn't explain why so many kids go off and do something totally different, or have totally different interests, or don't have any, you know, whatever. Sometimes they do things that we act against, and sometimes they rebel against, and sometimes they do something along the same lines. It depends how the relationship develops as they grow, you know. And my mum and dad were always very good at bringing us up, you know, against loads of love, and I liked them and stuff. That's really a problem.
Did you ever consider any career other than music?
Well, I did think about teaching for a while, but that was only because I was like, you know, at that awful age where they sort of say to you, you have to choose O-levels, now you have to choose what you want to do with your life. But actually, as it happens to me, teaching really appeals now. So it was something more actually than I thought it was at the time. So to me, teaching and being with young people is actually quite something that I still feel.
Would you like to dedicate some time to that even now?
Yeah, I would actually in the future. I'd really, because I'm quite involved with the Youth Club Association and locally in Hertfordshire, so I go to lots of the youth clubs and meet the kids and just hang out with them and have a laugh and stuff. And I really enjoyed doing that. And maybe in the future, if I might have a bit more time, I'd get more involved with the youth clubs, just someone who's interested.
Have you given any thought to whether you'll follow in your father's footsteps and carry on doing music into, say, middle age, or do you think you'll settle down and have a family kind of thing?
I think ultimately I may become a bit sort of bored of doing the pop star side of it. I'll never get bored of music, so I'll never get bored of writing and being involved at a creative level. But I may, although I can't see it in the foreseeable future, I may get bored of being a pop star. Well, I mean, put it this way, if I had a couple of kids, there's no way that I would be sitting here talking to you. I'd rather be sitting at home being with them. So, I mean, yes, of course, foreseeably, there will be a time, hopefully, God willing, and everything being fine, where other things will become more important than finding some nice clothes and going on stage and miming to records.
Your private life has never been sensationalised in the way that so many pop stars' lives are. Did your father advise you about that?
Well, he didn't exactly sit down and advise me. He's never sort of utilised his private life to get any kind of press or anything, or sensational sort of story. And I think just by watching him, my dad's never hardly ever sat me down and said, "No, listen here, Kim, these are the 5 golden rules," I mean, because you can't put an old head on young shoulders, and he knew that, and he knew that anything I had to learn about life, I would have to learn by myself. You can't tell anyone anything.
Do you find that your male fans are respectful towards you? I tend to find that men are often frightened of successful women.
Well, that could be true. It could be true, but I think most people respect me because I don't sensationalise my personal life. I think that's something that people respect, and men respect that.
Girl groupies always seem to be more serious about the whole thing, though, than the boys, I think.
It's true. The girls are very aggressive about it, aren't they? I never was like that. Oh, hang on, I might. I remember when The Real Thing came to Welwyn Garden City. You know the band The Real Thing? Yeah. And I was about, 16, 15. And then they were all outside getting in their van and stuff. Me and my mate went running out there to get autographs and stuff. And we weren't groupies, we just wanted to go and see them and stuff. And we fell in love with each one of them. Absolutely, that was it.
What would you consider to have been your most embarrassing moment professionally?
Most embarrassing moment? There aren't that many, actually. There aren't that many. But I suppose embarrassing and the worst situation I was in Rotterdam in Holland a few years ago, and I did. There was a big concert which was tied in with live TV, live radio, live TV, live radio, and a big sort of sports centre with about 50,000 people in the audience. And what we decided to do, it was just like this live concert situation, and they really wanted me to do it. I really wanted to do it, but I wasn't prepared to get the band rehearsed just to do 3 numbers. So I said, look, I'll bring the band along, we'll bring the backing tape along, and I'll sing live vocals, and that way you get the best of, I can talk to the audience, have a sing, have a good time with them, and we can just create a nice atmosphere. So of course the inevitable happens. I'm sort of 2 songs in, the crowd having a great time, I'm singing well, everything's fine, everything. And then suddenly more lights come on, they decide they're going to do the whole thing, 'cause it's, And then because they put more lights on, the backing tape starts slowing down. So I thought, no, this isn't really happening. So I just kept on singing, but the tape was going further. And I was singing, live TV, live radio, 50,000 people. And then towards the end of that song, I realised something was seriously wrong. So I went rushing off to the phone, and I said, and I said, don't worry, we're going to change the tape, it's going to be fine. Of course it wasn't. It was just dreadful. Oh, it was dreadful.
How did the band react to that?
They looked confused. What's going on, Kim? What's going on? And I felt so bad about it. And that was very painful. Well, I suppose it was about 2 years ago. So I finished, apologised to the audience, went off stage, and God, hell let loose. I was just unbelievable. I completely had a mental seizure. Screaming, I was tearing around, throwing things around. I was gonna kill anyone who came near me. So everyone stayed away from me for about half an hour. I was in a terrible, terrible, terrible state. I'll never ever sing live to back and tape again. Don't ever ask me to do that again.
Have you ever since?
I think I have actually. You know what I mean? So it was embarrassing, it was humiliating, it was all the worst things. That's the worst thing that's ever happened to me. And I vowed I'd never sing live to back and tape again, but I think I'm going to have to quite soon.